Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about the full moon in Libra taking place on April the 1st or 2nd, depending on where you live. So this is not a particularly nice full moon in my opinion. It's actually taking place at 12 degrees, which is the second decan of Libra. That's associated with the planet Saturn, which of course we know a lot about Saturn being a planet of constriction, boundary and harsh lessons. In tarot, this is the Three of Swords, which is that breakup energy. Very much a, oh my God, parting is such sweet sorrow, beloved. And so it doesn't necessarily feel like it's a good full moon. I will say it's not a revelation. It's not something where, you know, I've just been blindsided out of nowhere. It definitely feels like it's been brewing for a while. And it's something that is trying to show you, you know, your own power and your own agency. So let's look at some of the aspects. So aside from the full moon itself, we have got Saturn in Aries opposite the moon. So again, we've got Saturn opposite a Saturn ruled decan of the moon, which is going to be like double whammy. Saturn in Aries already debilitated and of course causing problems. When it's opposite the moon, it causes volatility with our mood. It pretty much feels like oppression of mood. So it's like, I cannot do this anymore. It's causing a lot of pain and volatility. And it also feels a bit like a bleeding out moment. Like I've been waiting for this to end, but I don't want to give up on it. And the reason you don't want to give up on it is because the sun is squaring Jupiter. So there's a goal here. There's an optimism that this could work out. But ultimately, you're not going to reach that goal, right? It feels like if I were to hold on to this goal, you know, I'm just going to get sicker and weaker and I'm going to bleed out even more. Sorry for the graphic imagery, but this is kind of like how I am conceptualizing it. So when the sun, which is all about our goals and the ambition that we're trying to achieve, is squaring Jupiter, about our optimism, it's fundamentally like having a clash, right? And then of course, Saturn being opposite the moon is doing absolute havocs with the emotions. Jupiter also squares the moon too. So that feels like it somewhat expands the dark emotions of that moon. It basically just feels like I can't hold on to this any longer. The rope is really chafing and I don't feel like this is going to really work for me anymore. The moon, though, does trine Pluto. What that means is this is a transformational transit in your life that is meant to be. It's kind of meant to happen. We're not really meant to wake up one day and think, oh my God, this is just like the weirdest thing. The full moon is only illuminating what is already there. It's not like it just comes out of nowhere. A full moon shows you something that is already in a state, right? And the point of a full moon is to illuminate, is to show you the truth. And the truth is quite easy to see with a full moon. It's kind of smacking you in the face. So again, it's like a culmination of a problem in your life with a relationship or a project or whatever resonates. And then you are like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. Libra is also a cardinal sign. It's associated with harmony, diplomacy, relationships, and balance. So when something is not balanced, it becomes very easy to see that and hard to ignore. Imagine if something's completely tilted, like imagine my camera is completely tilted off the side. I'd be like, okay, this is quite hard for me to ignore the fact that the camera is tilted to the point where I become progressively annoyed that I'm slanted and off kilter a little bit, right? So with this energy, you have got Saturn trying to teach you the lesson of, am I trying to people please for the sake of people pleasing, or am I trying to do it because I generally want to keep on with this relationship, with this goal, with this project, right? The tension of this full moon is bringing an awareness to what cannot be in alignment with you anymore. It's just out of kilter. Like I said, it's off balance and you sense it and you know it and it's there. So this full moon brings that intensity because we also have the Jupiter squares, which means that the optimism is no longer there. You don't really understand why you're putting in the effort, why you're trying to people please, because it's ultimately not going to go anywhere. I always have to ask the question as well, like, what's the point in people pleasing when you abandon yourself? When you don't build trust in yourself to set boundaries? Of course, Saturn being opposite the moon itself is trying to set a boundary for you and saying that this is not just about relationships, not just about, you know, the diplomacy of a situation. It's about you. It's about the patterns in your life. Are you trying to, you know, keep the peace for the sake of just, I don't want to confront something, right? I don't want to confront myself. I think that's really important to be direct and to be honest with this full moon, because I don't really appreciate people saying that we've got to be more diplomatic, we've got to be more team focused with this Libra full moon. They're just not understanding the aspects of it and truly seeing that there is more to the picture here. There's more truth to be spread. So how does this affect your rising sign? So if you're an Aries rising, this is in your 7th house of committed relationships. So definitely parting is sweet sorrow. So this is definitely a ending of a relationship. If you are feeling that way, if you have a very happy relationship and you're like, this is not for me, then it's not going to be for you. It's going to be what resonates, right? I don't have a gun to your head saying your relationship's going to end. It's been brewing for some time that you're not happy. It doesn't have to be the ending either. It could be you and I need to really set some boundaries here. It could also be a one-to-one relationship you have with an employee or a line manager or someone of authority, even with a client that you have a contract with if you work in that particular kind of job. If you're a Taurus rising, this is in your 6th house. So this definitely feels like you're having to set some boundaries around responsibility and what you're doing for other people, particularly because that people-pleasing energy really aligns itself to the 6th house, because that is a cadent house, meaning that it's very selfless. It does what, you know, other people want it to. It jumps on the grenade, but ultimately at the expense of your own happiness. So you might need to have some difficult conversations about it and say, I need to put myself first, particularly because you'll have Venus and Taurus as well in your 1st house, which means I want to be more peaceful. I want to have more time for myself. If you're a Gemini rising, this is in your 5th house. So you might want to leave a relationship for freedom because Uranus will be moving into Gemini at the end of the month. And that's in the 1st house, meaning that you're going to be very, I want to do lots of fun things and be spontaneous and be free. And I don't want a relationship holding me down, particularly a relationship that's quite toxic, or in the 5th house, it's more of a situationship than anything. You could also be releasing some kind of creative hobby that doesn't work for you. Maybe it's too expensive or something that just ultimately doesn't feel right for you. If you're a Cancer rising, this is in your 4th house. So this is the house of home and family. This could be setting an extreme boundary with a family member, or you could also be cutting ties with a particular mortgage advisor or somebody that's advising on buying a house right now. It's also a very private house. So this is when someone's trying to get in your business too much and trying to exploit some of your good nature, especially if you've been opening up and saying, I'm just telling you a bit about my story, and someone's like, oh yeah, I remember when you said that, and you're like, I didn't tell you that to use it against me. I don't think you're my kind of person. If you're a Leo rising, this is in your 3rd house. So this could be the ending of communication with somebody, definitely someone that's ghosted you, or, you know, it gives me the energy of blocked, we're done. You know, this does not feel like a good energy here. You could also be finishing up an exam or an essay because this is kind of study season, but you might not particularly feel positive about it. You might think you could have done better, or you could be just lamenting that I've got anxiety about this. If you're a Virgo rising, this is in your 2nd house. So this could be paying off a debt or a financial plan that has caused you some strain for some time. Definitely feels like it's bleeding out and I just want done with this. You could also be really setting your boundaries with your morals and values here in that 2nd house. So if someone is not going to align with them, you are going to say, I'm standing on business here. You know, don't align with that. You know, this is just not what I want. So it definitely feels like you can use some of the Venus and Taurus energy of being stubborn and my way, the highway here, which I think Virgos tend to like to do actually, to say, I am going to be putting my boundaries here. These are my values, these are my morals, and I don't want you overstepping them. And if you do, then we could just cannot be. We just cannot be. If you're a Libra rising, then this is your full moon. It's in your 1st house. So this can manifest in a multitude of ways. So of course, this is going to be quite nasty full moon for you, would say. I don't like to say like nasty like it's terrible, but it definitely feels like you've got to remove something from your life that is not serving you. It does not have to be a relationship. It can be anything that you can think of right now where you're like, I don't want this. Again, it's been brewing. I don't want this in my life, right? This energy is too dark, too difficult, and of course it's oppressing you. Again, that Saturn nature is oppressive in itself. So you need to make some difficult decisions about releasing something from your life. I don't think it's going to be done to you. You are the one that is doing it. If you're a Scorpio rising, this is in your 12th house. So this definitely could be an energy that is like a karmic connection that you need to cut off. Ultimately, it's the house of mental health. So when you have a 3 of Swords deck in with a mental health house, you know, it's challenging. It's a good time to show yourself self-love. You know, be your own cheerleader, be your own partner here, and ultimately say, I'm cutting this off for my mental health. I'm not cutting it off because, you know, why not? I want to add, you know, development to the plot. It's like, I'm doing this because it's going to help me mentally. And again, that is an act of self-love in itself. If you're a Sagittarius rising, this is in your 11th house, so you could be cutting off a friend or an acquaintance, or ending some kind of mentorship or networking situation. Ultimately, it could also be giving up on a dream or a goal that you really wanted to go for, but you find that you can't achieve it, maybe because of finances, maybe because you simply just don't have the will for it. And that feels kind of sad. It feels like breaking up with yourself because you're having to really release something here. Ultimately, the Jupiter, which is your ruler, squaring the moon, is going to make you feel like the goal that you really wanted to achieve is just too far out of sight, unfortunately. So it just might feel like maybe I need to recalibrate this, or I need to change the goal somewhat. I don't have to get rid of it completely, just change it. If you're a Capricorn rising like myself, then this is in the 10th house. So we have quite a lot of Saturn energy here with the Saturn decan at 12 degrees, but also the Saturn opposition to the moon. We'll adapt to that more because we are Saturn ruled. It's not going to be as nasty as something like Libra, which is Venus ruled, so it doesn't adapt that Saturn energy too well. So this can be a release of a project at work, some kind of issue with an authority figure like a boss, even could be a mother. But also it's an increasing disillusionment with the career, feeling like this is not going to work for me. I need to, start making plans for something else. I don't really want to try to juggle things. You could have a full-time job and a side hustle that you just don't want to juggle anymore. So it definitely feels like you have to make some interesting decisions here. I don't think this is the worst thing in the world for you, Capricorn, to be honest, with the Saturn rulership, but still kind of like not the greatest. If you're an Aquarius rising, this is in your 9th house. As such with Capricorn, you're ruled by Saturn, so the Saturn opposition to the moon and the Saturn decan is not going to hit you as much. In the 9th house, this is finishing up some kind of thesis or exam or essay, but you might not feel too good about it. You could also find that you are not able to go on holiday because of financial reasons, or something that limits your scope of horizon, particularly because we've got that Jupiter square to the moon. Jupiter rules the 9th house, so it definitely feels like a goal is it's not able to be reached, very similar to Sagittarius here. So you might have to recalibrate some of the things that you're doing under this full moon. If you're a Pisces rising, this is in your 8th house, so you could be paying off a debt or finishing up a financial plan that you share with someone else. You could also have a little bit of an argument with someone that you share finances with, so for example a partner or a family member, and it's like, whoa, someone is not balancing the scales here with that Libra energy. It could also be the ending of an intimate karmic relationship that has really caused you hurt for some time, particularly because we'll have a Pisces lunar eclipse in August, which really feels like you are walking away from something you thought was going to work out. So this could be the building or the culmination of a relationship that's very in and out, in and out. So that's the rundown for the Libra full moon. Again, it's not really something you should be too worried about. Again, it's something that's been brewing for some time. So, I'm hoping that when you watch this video, you kind of already know what I'm talking about. But ultimately, it's very transformational. The moon's trining Pluto. So that is going to be something that is the benefit of you, although it is quite painful and somewhat Shakespearean in nature.